You need both. You need godliness while you're in the in-between because, oh God, let me show you. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 talks about be careful when you be rash with your mouth. The things that you are saying out of your mouth, the things that you are declaring, how you act while you're in the in-between. Some of us are in the in-between right now and we're acting a certain way that's making it worse. We're complaining and disputing instead of accepting it and being settled in it and being satisfied with it. We are being rash with our mouth and we are not using excellent morale and we're pushing ourselves further backwards into the situation than propelling ourselves because we don't understand godliness and contentment is great gain. Somebody say great gain. It is great gain to any of you who are in something right now and you are in the in-between. If you just understand how to control your mouth, how to act, how to maintain excellent morale, how to maintain purity in the midst of the in-between, how to be content with God and be satisfied and settle with the circumstances. If you can get the two of these, you can survive and thrive in the in-between. My God. And if you don't understand these, you will never survive and thrive. You will always be going down in the in-between and you will never ever fully make it and you'll be losing energy and fighting everybody while you're going down, taking people with you. Amen. Can you take people with you? And you'll be going down instead of going up. Amen. The in-between is so important. My God, my God, my God. And so how do we do this? Just repeat this after me. Accepting the moment. I got to get this in you because this is important right here. Accepting the moment. Go ahead and say it. And embracing the moment as a God moment. Come on, somebody. And not your moment. My God, Paul knew something about this. The Apostle Paul, my God, he was so rich in wisdom. Paul had this. He understood this. He understood it so much that it became the propeller that took him higher. Though he had so many things happening to him, you would wonder why he was in the in-between. And how was he able to continue to go and step up to the point where he was so successful. My God, he writes about it in Philippians. He writes about it in Corinthians. We're going to look at Corinthians because Paul did some stuff that's defining to us even to this day that we don't even know how Paul made it out. My God, if one of us was just shipwrecked in here, if one of us was just beaten with rods in here, if one of us was thrown outside in the cold and nakedness and laid out to sea, we wouldn't have survived. But Paul survived this pull that down. Paul was able to survive some things that I don't think that many of us could survive. Many of us can't survive without Paul. Leah? Hallelujah, glory to God. You didn't hear me say that, but I'm just joking, Leah. Please, Leah, don't come after me at the church. Pastor, you bought up the Pepsi? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Some of us can't survive without certain things, amen? But look at Paul. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more in labors, more in abundant, in stripes above measures, in prisons more frequently. My God, he's in prison. He can stripes above measure, labors more abundant, in death often, almost near death. Continue. From the Jews, 5 times I received 40 stripes minus 1. How many people got some stripes? Yeah, take your shirts off. Yeah. Okay. Therefore, 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. My God, 3 times I was shipwrecked, a night and day. I have been in the deep. Continue. In journeys often, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils of my own countrymen, his own folks, my God, in perils of the Gentiles, in perils of the city, in perils of the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. Continue. In the weariness and toil and sleeplessness often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness. My God, this guy is in the in-between. Come on, somebody. Go ahead and go down to 28. Besides the other things, what comes upon me daily, he says, my deep concern for all the churches. He says all that is described to you is going on, plus everything happening with the church. Paul was in this in-between because, see, he had came so far he couldn't go back. And he was still going forward, but, I mean, he was stuck where he was going through all this, and he couldn't really go forward, and he really couldn't go back. And he was in this in-between, but he was surviving and thriving while he was in in-between. He didn't die out. He didn't fall out. He didn't do anything. He didn't pass out. My God, He thrived, church. Let's go down into thriving because I want you to see now Paul in Philippians. This is the same Paul that's saying all of this. Go down into Philippians 4. And he gives us the recipe of how he maintained while he was in the in-between. Ooh, glory. See, if you get the recipe, you can make it all the time. Amen? See, if I get the recipe, the carrot cake, I can make it every day. Because I know how to make it, amen? But if I don't have the recipe, I'll be messing some stuff up. Some of y'all got some cakes for some people, you tasted them, you're like, it's missing a few things. This ain't got no egg in it. Some of the old school people can tell you, they can taste the cake and say, it ain't got no baking soda. They just do stuff and it fall like that. It's missing the vanilla. You be like, vanilla? You can taste that? Yeah, okay. Some of y'all know. Okay. Look at Paul. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in what state I am in, but I state whatever state I am to what? He is into something. See, look, he's going back to Timothy. See, Timothy's words were what? What did you need to survive in between? Godliness and contentment. And so Paul, he says, I have learned this thing. I didn't know it at first, but I learned this thing. This stuff is not something that just came on me. I had to learn it. Look at your neighbor and say, you got to learn it. You got to learn this because you are always going to find yourself in between moments where things, you don't know what's going to happen. God has your island. You're waiting on him. He don't look like he's coming. You're stuck in a position where you're just laying there and you're going to learn these things. Because if you don't learn these things, you will be in trouble. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in what instead I am to be continue. I know how to be a base and I know how to be a base. Everywhere and in all things. I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and suffer need. Then we got more. I can do all things through. Now, stop for a minute, Paul. Let's tear apart some of the stuff he's talking about here to see if he's really got it. If he's really got godliness and contentment. Does he really have it? Paul is saying here, let's look at some of the things he said. He said he was content while he was abased. While he was abased and he couldn't go abased, he said, I was content there. He said, while I was hungry, didn't know where my next meal was coming from, couldn't go backwards, couldn't go forward, waiting on God. Sounds like an in-between to me. He said, I was there and what? I was content there. He said, when I was suffering need, I was suffering need there. Couldn't go back, couldn't go forward, was in the in-between, suffering need, was content there. And so we see him now, flowing in contentment, waiting on God. He was content he was satisfied or settled with the circumstances itself. He had no problem with it. Now let's see if he had godliness. Because you need both if you're going to survive and thrive. Amen? Now he had it. I know he had it because the 13th verse says what, church? He ain't being rash and saying, let me show you how he looked. Oh, I don't understand. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't disputing. He wasn't falling out on the floor. Falling out. He wasn't doing any of that. You know what he said? I can do all things through Christ. He had godliness. My God. He was spiritually pure. My God. He was talking smack. Yes, right. That brother was talking smack and said, I can do all things. Why? Because he had godliness, folks. He was spiritually pure. He maintained an excellent morale. And because he had the two working together as twins, he was able to make it, though he was shipwrecked, though he was in perilous of nights, though he was laying down making it day, though